Okay, so just yesterday, yeah, this is literally, I'm not even gonna over exaggerate. Literally, all I did yesterday was watch the Dark Knight trilogy and the Captain America trilogy. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight Rises, Captain America the First Avenger, Captain America the Winter Soldier, and Captain America Civil War. It took me 12 to 13 hours. That is literally all I did all day yesterday. So that just proves that I have way too much time on my hands. Anyway, so that's what this video is going to be about. That's why I watched them yesterday, because I wanted to make this video to compare which is in my opinion, because these two trilogies are the greatest comic book trilogies of all time, but out of the two, which is the greatest of the two. So that's why I'm going to do this video. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to compare the first two movies, Batman Begins and the first Avenger, The Dark Knight and the Winter Soldier, and The Dark Knight Rises and Civil War. And then and actually we'll get to the last bit in a minute, in towards the end of this video. Okay, so Batman Begins versus Captain America, the first Avenger. Which one was better? To me, yeah, watching these two movies again, like they are way better than I remember them to be. Like I used to always think of Batman Begins as as boring, uninteresting, unentertaining. But I watched it again yesterday, and I was like, this is really good. Like this film was never in my top 10 or my top 10 comic book movies of all time. I think that's about to change. It was good. I loved it. I loved the structure. I loved the story. I loved the pacing. I loved the origins. How the origins was told. It's kind of like, think of it as how Deadpool was. Excuse me. How Deadpool told this origin story. We started off in the present day, and then we went back to the past, and we kept going back and forth, back and forth. That's how it was with this movie, Batman Begins. It was very well done. Very, there were problems. So every movie has problems. It's not no movie is perfect. And then we go to Captain America: The First Avenger. This is the same thing. Like it is way better than I remember it to be. But which one is more impressive to me? I would have to say that Batman Begins wins this round. Batman Begins wins the first one because I don't know. It's just something about that movie that I just love. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Captain America: The First Avenger was also good. I love the origin story. I love the how we started off Steve Rogers, because what after watching Civil War, like just going rolling back all the years, going back, taking us back to the very beginning, where he was to where he is in Civil War. It's just very, we see that journey that he has made throughout the trilogy and throughout the Avengers films. It's just very good, and just to see where it all began, it just adds that much value. But I'm afraid that this round has to go to Batman Begins. So round two is the Dark Knight versus the Winter Soldier. This is the toughest round for me. This is definitely the toughest round. But I can't stress it enough. Watching the Dark Knight again, because I haven't watched it in like 2 years or so. So watching this movie one more, it just reminded me why this was my favorite, or this was the best comic book movie ever made. It just reminded me, and to me, I forgot about how much I enjoyed it. I forgot about how much I thought it was the best movie ever made. Watching it last night reminded me how good of a film it was. The Winter Soldier, on the hand, before Civil War, this was probably the best Marvel movie. It was the best Marvel movie, but I have to say the Dark Knight wins this one. I have to say the Dark Knight is a better film than Winter Soldier. I have to say that. Winter Soldier is definitely in the top three. Yes, Winter Soldier is definitely in the top three greatest comic book movies of all time. In my opinion, it's in the top three. But The Dark Knight is just it's a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece. Heath Ledger's Joker is he's Heath Ledger's Joker is the main reason why I love this film, The Dark Knight. Watching it just really, it just reminded me why I love this film. So round two goes to the Dark Knight. Round three, Batman, Captain America: Civil War versus the Dark Knight Returns. This one, no brainer. Civil War, no brainer. The Dark Knight Rises is the film out of all these six films I least enjoyed. I didn't really enjoy it that much. It was just, it felt like a 2.5 hour movie. It wasn't as fun as the other movies. It wasn't as enjoyable, and there was hardly any Batman in it because he was basically out for most of it because he broke his back, and then we had to deal with the build up to him returning as Batman because he had a 7 year break in between the Dark Knight and this movie. So it just wasn't as enjoyable to me. But Civil War, I said in my spoiler review, or in my reviews in general, that Civil War is the greatest comic book movie of all time. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, Civil War, I still enjoyed it. Definitely my favorite. Okay, actually, yeah, we'll discuss that in a minute. But it's my favorite movie of all time. My favorite movie of all time. Okay, so this round definitely goes to Civil War. Now, what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna explain which is better, like overall as a trilogy, which is better as a trilogy or so. To me, it's very hard to pick because the Captain America trilogy, it gets better after each film. That's what I can't say that about the Dark Knight. The Captain America trilogy. The first Avenger was good. The Winter Soldier was even better. Civil War was, in some ways, the Winter Soldier is better than Civil War. In some ways, I can see why some people say that they still put Winter Soldier ahead of Civil War. I can see that now. Before I was like, no way, Civil War definitely on top. But watching them back to back, I'm like, I could see why, because it had a better, the structure was better. It had a better, the story was a bit tidier, and there's just certain things that the Winter Soldier did better than Civil War. But I still think Civil War for me just edges out Winter Soldier, just edges out. But in some ways, Winter Soldier is better. But I'm still sticking with Civil War as the best Marvel movie ever made. So, in that sense, Civil War beats the Winter Soldier. Now, for the Dark Knight, the Batman Begins was very good. Dark Knight was masterpiece. That was just masterful. And the Dark Knight Rises. Okay, let's just do this. Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises goes down. I'm afraid. So, in terms of a trilogy, in terms of the trilogy, I would say it's very hard. I really cannot. I can't. I don't know. Captain America's trilogy improves each time. If you put it in that regard, then Captain America's trilogy is better. Quality wise, I have to say Dark Knight. Maybe I just have to say Dark Knight is the better trilogy because of the Dark Knight. I just don't know. There's a difference between the best movie and your favorite movie. My favorite movie is still Civil War. The best movie. I used to say that Civil War is the best movie, greatest comic book movie ever made. I have to I have to say The Dark Knight is. I'm afraid I have to say that I cannot. It's just a masterpiece. Civil War is the second greatest comic book movie ever made. Dark Knight is the first. In my non-spoiler review, I was so excited. Like you cannot blame me. You can't blame me. Because in my Civil War non-spoiler review, I was just too excited that day, and I was like, Civil War was the greatest comic book movie ever made. I didn't give myself enough time to digest it. But even then, after a few days, I was still thinking Civil War is still the greatest comic book movie ever made. But watching The Dark Knight yesterday, nah. I have to say The Dark Knight is the greatest comic book movie ever made. Civil War in second place. So that's still a very good achievement. So yeah, what do you guys think? Which is the greatest trilogy ever made? The Dark Knight trilogy, Captain America's trilogy, Iron Man's trilogy, the Spider-Man trilogy, the Sam Raimi trilogy, or the X-Men Singers trilogy? Which one? Share your thoughts down below in the comments. I want to know your guys' opinions. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys later for more videos.